Hi everyone, very good morning. Welcome back to ITOM batch 4 or batch 3, day 11. How are you doing guys today?
We're doing well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. So again, before proceeding for today's sessions, guys, do you have any questions related to the topics which we have covered till now? And today we are moving to the practical side completely. Any questions from anyone?
Ajay, I think last week we discussed regarding credential alias, right? Today we're going to discussing that topic.
Yeah, we'll going to discuss that one. Yeah.
Thank you, Ajay.
Okay. Anything from anyone else?
So Ajay, I'm good.
Okay. Then let's get started. So let me share my screen. And today's topic, how we can install Mid Server and what required for the Mid Server. Okay, so before starting, anyone knows what is the infra required for the Mid Servers?
I think minimum 4 GB RAM.
Okay, what
Yeah.
else? So the first thing is we required minimum 4 GB RAM, right?
Yeah, and 64-bit reading system and storage. I got forget actually.
Okay, anyone else wants to add anything?
8 memory.
Sorry, come again.
8 GB memory.
Yes.
And Windows Server 2012 or something greater than that.
Okay.
How about Mid Server threads?
So that we are going to be configured while we are installing Mid servers. But
Okay.
the thing is, what is required or what to be, as a prereq of the Mid servers installation?
I think available bandwidth, geographic location, and IP address to target DMZs.
Okay.
I think we're going to check about whether it is physical or virtual, and then OS type we need to do, like either it is 8 GB or like Windows.
Okay.
Which version? And the processor also last time you mentioned. I think one more connectivity. Port I didn't remember. You mentioned that connectivity is something.
Right.
Yeah. And if you need proxy also, we can cross check that.
Right.
Those are
Mid Server role.
Yeah, role is also.
Right. What else? So yes, you are right, guys. You have remembered something, but what I mention or what I say always, if we are remembering the things in a way which help us to give that everything on the customer in a single go, that will be good. If we are giving that informations to customer in that bits and pieces, that will not work, right? So in simple words, for mid-server installation, we required physical or a virtual machine which runs on Windows OS at least 2012 or Linux OS Red Hat 6 Plus version. Then we required hard disk, 100 GB hard disk at least, 8 GB RAM, 4 or 8 core CPU, 4 or 8 core multi-core CPU. that we required. Apart from that, we need to be enable the firewall policy from Mid Server to target of from Mid Server to ServiceNow host or ServiceNow instance on port 443. Second, we required a user of in mid server user basically or anything in ServiceNow instance with the mid_server role. Apart from we also required a service account to run our services. That are the basic or the most prereq while we are installing Mid Server. Apart from that, I also showcase you a couple of softwares which you can also ask as a prereq of that customer while you're installing Mid Server. But apart from that, these are the 5 or 6 things which we required. Right. So today what we are doing, we are going to be install Mid Server on a Windows machine. So I have already started sharing my screen. Let's go to that instance now. And let me know once you are visible my screen. So as I mentioned, now you received a IP or a host name which you want to connect or where you want to install the Mid Server. So first of all, you have to take the RDP of it, right? Remote desktop connection or remote desktop protocol, you have to do it. And there are a couple of ways to do in your in that particular organization. One, you can do from your laptop directly, where you just need to be search for like remote, like I have Microsoft remote desktop, and in your laptop you have must be remote desktop connections, right? Once you open it, just open it, and you have to be click on add PC or whatever the option there in your Windows, right? And just copy. I'm just copying. This is the IP or the host name of my Mid Server basically for now, right? So I put this one as a PC name. I will add, and when I connect it, it will ask for username and password, right? So as I earlier mentioned, to access that Mid Server, we required username and then we required password, right? So I'm just doing the same thing here, putting the username and password, and that username and password which is provided by customers should use or should ask for a local admin access. So you are able to perform the troubleshootings if required any, right? So once I have connected here, now you can see I have the access of that virtual machine on which I am going to be install the Mid application. I hope you are able to see my screen, right? And if you see here, the configuration is also mentioned here, so that where that what is the IP of, what is the public IP of it, what is private IP of it, and because that is located in cloud, so the availability zone you are able to see that it's located in US East 1A. That architecture is running on AMD 64. Total memory is 4096 MB. It's around 4 GB basically, right? So that information I'm able to see. Apart from that, if you go here, and if I click on this PC, you can see the 80 GB hard disk is also there, right? So that is the basic informations. And if you want to see the OS, it's Windows basically, but what is the OS version, you can go and you can see for OS as well. This is a 64-bit operating system, which is Windows Server 2019 data center. So as I mentioned, at least you required Windows Server 2012. Over and above, there are a couple of other OS versions available in market for Windows. One is which of them? Windows Server 2019 data center. So they are using 2019 data centers and 64-bit operating system. Now, what is the process to install the Mid Server, right? So let's do one thing first of all. Or let's do here. So if I go to the Mid Server, Let's go to the mid servers. No, this one. Downloads. So we have to navigate on the left navigation panel, right? Mid servers, and under mid servers downloads is there. You can go and just download whatever you want, right? So here, if you see, we have Windows downloads with MSI, and we can also download the zip file, and these only 464-bit. We have to be take care about that, right? So let me download the first MSI. Until the time MSI is downloading, the another prereq to start mid server services. What is that? That is, anyone knows what is the user table name?
sys_user.
Sys_user or sys_users?
Only user.
Yeah.
You. So I am on users table here. What I need to do, I have to create a user. I'm just doing that one. But should let me put tag track with AJ user ID. The first name is tag track. The last name is AJ. I think nothing more than required to be put, but yeah, because I'm just creating a local user here, and it must be a local user to run that services or run that mid server, right? Also, if you want to put any title, any password, or any department, any customer provided, any email and all, you can also configure that. So if any information is required to be triggered as an email, you can trigger that information through that particular configuration stick. Now let me submit this. What is the user ID we have configured? Tag track. Let me go here. Let me provide the role. Anyone knows what is the role we have to provide that user? I just mentioned.
Server role.
Admin role.
Right, mid_server role, because that is help to install or connect my mid server with ServiceNow. So I have just created a mid_server role, and let me generate the password for that. Let me generate the small one. I have generated this password. Let me put somewhere on my Excel here. Okay, let me save password. Close. So password has been created, and what we need to do, we have to reset the password in the first place. So let's reset the password. Let me open a new tab, new window. What is the user URL of it? Let me open this. It's not working. This is, oh, okay. It's not the complete URL. Let me log out here. Yeah. So what is the username we have configured? Tag track with AJ. Right? This is the correct name?
Yes.
No, that's not the correct name. The AJ is within capitals, right? And the password which we are going to use is this. Sign in. Now we have to change the password. I'm just putting the simple thing. Oh, this is the current password. I just simply set that advanced #12. Also here advanced #12, and I hope that will work. Yeah. So that works. So now our password is advanced #12 and our username is track with AJ. Okay, meanwhile, let me see if my Mid server is downloaded. Yes, that's downloaded with MSI. Let me download the zip as well. Meanwhile, it's downloading.
Sorry, I have a quick question, please.
Yes.
Yeah, I was late to the class. I don't know if you mentioned it already. So, which of the how will I put it? The versions of ServiceNow would you recommend that will have the PDI? Is it the current, the shadow, or which one do you recommend?
Right. So I definitely when we are, using in PDI, we have to use always the latest version. So our PDI should be enabled with the latest things basically.
Okay, thank you.
We should not going with that, that the earlier versions, right? We have capabilities to enable it, but if we are going with the latest one, we have lots of things available. Like, recently, I think Creator Studio is enabled as on PDI, right? So we can also do that some couple of things from there. Okay, so it's downloading.
So why, a quick question, Ajay, why we downloading the both files?
Why I'm downloading? Because I just want to showcase you the Mid server installations from the both files, right? How we can install through MSI or how we are going to install 464-bit zip file. Because in the both side, there are little small difference to install it.
Okay.
Right, so meanwhile it's downloading. Let's go to this one. Okay, now as I mentioned, we can also download from here as well, right? So I downloaded from my system, but you can also download from this particular machine as well, right? So let me close this one. Okay, now the second thing which we need to be test, right? So let me CMD command prompt the connection, right? So how we can test the connections that my Mid server or that particular machine which we want to be that's connected, right? So let me go to the instance name is this, right? So what I'm doing, I'm putting telnet, the host name and the port 443. Telnet is not enabled here, right? Let me go to see if I can install the port query. This is the issues basically we are face, right? Let me try with indifferent another way as well. So a couple of times when we are trying to test the telnet, the port will not be enabled, right? So let me try in different way. Let me remove the HTTPS as well. So basically this is the command to check the connection between source to target machine. So here source is my Mid server, target is my ServiceNow instance, and port 443 we have requested ACL to the network team to enable it, right? but already that should be enabled. Let's say telnet is not allowed on this particular system. So meanwhile, this is there. Arey bhai, what you are doing? That install. Let me click yes. Downloads. Area. Unzip. It's not unzipping. No. There are some issue with that. Okay, that is unzipping is port query. See port query UI. Okay. Let me go there. Here. Yeah. Where the application is the application. Yes. So this is again, as I mentioned, port query is a tool or UI from where if my telnet is not enabled, we can also use to be check the connections basically, right? So here, if I put that enter an FQD in which I just want to be telnet, right? Let me go to the start. So this is my IP or basically FQDN or the host name of the machine. I need to be manually telnet. Which port I need to be telnet? I can see the TCP, UDP, and both I can telnet. Port which I need to be do query, that is 443. Right? Let's do query. It's saying and it's if you are able to see here, it's saying starting port query on this on port 443, querying target system call, now learning dot this dot 001 dot lab service. Let me check the correct, it is the correct instance or not. So that is now learning hyphen and list 02308253 hyphen 001 dot service hyphen now dot com on port 443. Yeah, that looks good. Let me see if I can. Yes.
Ajay, I have a question. So before installing Mid Server itself, like this port query need to be run so that the port 443 should be open.
It's not mandatory, but this is just, you can verify, or I'm just trying to showcase you that how port query works or help you, or you can check the connection between your Mid server to ServiceNow instance. It's not mandatory. But if let's take an example, you are using this particular URL. Let me showcase you one thing. It's not copying. Okay, I'm going here. Let me put this one. And if I'm not able to open this particular URL, now you're able to see I'm not able to open it, right? Right. So it means if I'm not able to access that particular URL, that means that is not accessible from that machine. And if it is not accessible from machine, you are not able to connect to the Mid server, right? Or else in future, if you want to upgrade your Mid server automatically, you cannot do without that, right? So that's why I just want to showcase you can check that particular things beforehand before going to be installed that Mid application. Getting my point?
Okay.
That is only use case of it, right? So that's I'm just facing that issue. It's not connecting, and these are the actual challenges. you will face while you're working on this particular things basically. So here, let me copy this one again. This is the URL. Let me query again. Yes, now what I did, now I got it. I think I clean or missed something in between, right? 253. Yeah. So I deleted 3 here, right? If you see 25 and 3, 253, right? So by mistake I deleted 3, so that's why it's not working earlier. But if you see here, what the results I will get, we will get TCP port 443 HTTP service listening. Listening means it's working, it's correct. Right now, let's do one thing. If I open this URL now, here, this will definitely work. Oh, it's 2 times copy. Yeah, see, the URL is working. Means earlier we are using the wrong URL, or instead of the wrong URL, we can say the port is not open for that particular URL, and that's why we are not able to connect it, right? So if port is working, we are able to access the same ServiceNow instance or any target machine. If I take an example of any machine which I just want to be discovered here, I can put that IP or host name of it, the particular port, and that connections how we want to be, and just query. So if I'm querying, I'm able to see the results. It's listening or not listening or whatever it is, right? And if you see that it's resolving the IP of this particular URL is 54.165.22 226.203. So that is the port query where it's help out if your telnet command is not working on that machine, right? So the one prereq we have done, we have configured one user with mid_server role. Second prereq, we have tested the firewall policies open, because firewall policies to be opened by customer, not from us. We are just the submitter or the requester to submit the request. With that policies, you have to be enable it. But once they enable it, that is our responsibility to validate that firewall policy is enabled. Otherwise, if we are not enabling or not validating and we are just simply mentioning customer, that's not working, what is the proof of it, right? So we can do that validations using command prompt telnet or the port query. Okay, now the third thing which is required, that we have to be configure a local user or a service account user basically to run our services, right? So let's do one thing. Let me go to local. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Ajay, actually, can you go to that port query window? Actually, I have a doubt over there.
Okay, let me go. So that was in local days port query. Yes. Do I need again tell me?
Yeah. Regarding there, you're giving full HTTP also including there, or just now learning thing you are including?
Without HTTP, because HTTP is a port, right? Which we want telnet. HTTP running on port 443. So for the FQDN only, not for the complete URL. It's a URL. And why we HTTP? Because that service is running on port 443 basically.
Okay. No need to mention HTTP on there.
No, never.
Okay, fine.
Or instead of that URL, you can put that key address of that machine.
But when you opening the browser, you mentioned HTTPS, right?
So that, whatever we are telnetting here, that what is HTTP? Tell me. HTTP is port 443.
Yep, correct.
So that want to be tested. So why we need to be put on that URL?
Okay, got it.
Right. The same way, if you see here, that IP in that last is 54.91.137.200. Right. If you are able to see here, this there, right? You can
Yes.
see that is 54 to 91, 137, 200. If I just want to query, okay, I just put it to 443, but yeah, let's see. I just want to put on different port. It will showcase you that result. So it instead of IP, you can put IP or you can put the host name or the FQDN, right? See, it's TCP port 443. It's filtered, means it's working but not completely working in that way. So it should be listening always on that machine, right? If I put port 135 because it's a one Windows machine, let's try to port 135. Anyone knows what is the remote desktop port? RDP port in Windows. Remember, I mentioned last time. Guys, make some note. The port is 3389. See, immediately I put 3389. It's showing listening. Anyone tell me why it's showing listening here on 3389?
I think it just responding.
Right, it's responding, but why? What is the reason behind that? I just want to prove you one thing here. If this port is not working now, I'm not able to take the remote of that machine, which you are able to see it now here. So there is one service, remote desktop protocol service, which is enabled on that machine and which is running on 3389. That's why it's showing listening and I'm able to take the remote of that machine. If it is disabled, if it is not working, you can try any type of things, but you are not able to take the remote of that machine or that Windows machine, in simple words. So the one thing also here, when you are asking customer, like I need a Windows machine where you have installed that OS and that particular hardware configuration, you should basically customer will provide you the remote access. But if you are not able to take the access or remote of that machine, just check is that remote is enabled on that machine. So you can take a remote from your laptop or anywhere to access that machine. And sometimes you are able to take the remote only through the customer internet or the VPN connected laptops, which is again connected to the customer internet or customer intranet basically. You cannot take that particular customer machine access or remote from local network. You are not able to take anyhow. Second thing, if customer is not providing you the remote desktop directly, they will provide you some source or some way to connect that remote machine. Might be they are using third-party applications where they have configured that particular mid server or machine as an a Windows server as a RDP, and from there you can take RDP. So in that case, you have to be logged in on that particular application, whatever provided by customer. You should be onboarded on that first of all. Once you logged in, you are able to see your servers which you have requested, and you can take RDP from there. So again, there is one, you can say UI action should be there like query, and you can click on that UI button or UI things. You are able to connect with your Windows server through that, right? But make sure that is happening through the customer environment only. You cannot do from your local internet. Okay, I hope you got my point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Also, what is the what does the port query also do? If you want to if you want to telnet a couple of ports or check the connections with a couple of ports, you can put in the comma separated as well on that machine. Okay. So any questions from anyone on that particular things? Otherwise, I will move to the next things now.
Ajay, if we don't have an access on the host machine to install this port query, is there any alternate way to check the connections?
You can ask to the customer.
Command prompt.
You can ask customer to provide or install that port query on your machine, because it's just a freeware. It's compliant with the security, which I understand. So you can directly ask to them, yeah, I need that particular installation or IP there.
Okay, got it. I mean to say that, like, is there any commands to check alternate commands?
No, I don't tried. Basically, there are two ways to do that. The connections. One is command prompt, and the second is port query. And why I loved it port query, because it's have the capability to do that test connection with the UDP ports as well, which you cannot do from the command prompt.
Oh, great.
Also, if I try to find out, you can also try to find out internet, right? But if the port query which is provided by Microsoft is not accepted by the customer, you cannot install any other applications in the same environment, right? So this is just from Microsoft, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So shall I move to the next things, guys? Any other questions from anyone? Okay, let's close this one. Now let's move to local users and groups. Well, let me go through the computer management. So once you see computer management, you are able to see local users and groups. Under local users and groups, you can see users, right? So if you see here, let me showcase you, because already one mid server is running on that machine. You are able to see that one user is there, lab.mid server, right? But we need to be, or we have to be use different mid or username, so we can configure that particular user from here, right? So let me close this one. How we can create here one user? What should we do? We have to go users, more action, a new user, and just provide the username and the password of it, right? So I'm just what I'm putting tech track with AJ. So we shouldn't be confused. Don't think I'm always using tech track with AJ. I just want to be uniqueness going to be used here, right? So again, the full name I can put this, and the password I am going to be use the same password which I use for mid server one. Right, so this here we have capability to disable. So user must change password at login, next login. We have to be disable that one. No, we don't require to be change the password on the next login. User cannot change the password, that is thing, or password never expire. We have to be put those things, right? So the password of this particular account should not be expired, or user cannot change the password without here coming here or the admin, right? So whatever user we are providing that informations that he's not able to change the password, right? So once I click on the create, it will create a user, and which is visible here. Now you can see the one user is created, right? And once user is created, what we have to do? We have to be add this particular user in the groups, right? So where now we have to navigate for local policies. Let's go to there. Guys, if you are a little bit confused or not sure what steps I am following, just simply note down these particular 5 steps, right? So it will help to remember those things what you have to do while you are installing mid server, because that is something again which is most important while installing the mid server, right? Your voice is breaking. Who's speaking?
Pritikant.
Your voice is breaking, Pritikant. Come again, please.
What are the five steps? Can you repeat it again so that I will put it in the note?
Yeah, I can repeat it in the log.
Okay. Right.
And then I will repeat it, right? So the next thing is provide the logon as a service access to that user. So we'll go to local security policy under user assignments. Let me click, let me see if it's working. So go to the local policies, user right assignments, and in that you can see if I search with logon as a service, right? So that user which we have created there, we have to be add that user as a logon as a service. So right click on that one, click here, let's search with the user tech track with EG. Once I check the name, I can find out this one. Let's okay. Let's apply, or that's it. So we have added that particular user logon as a service, right? So these are the two things which we have to do while we are configuring a service account to create on the Windows server to run our mid application basically, right? So let me repeat again the 5 things or 6 things, whatever it is. One is, that we required a virtual or physical machines with the Windows OS at least 2012 or the Linux 6 plus version for Red Hat with 100 GB hard disk, 8 GB RAM or 8 multi-core CPU. That is the basic requirement we required. Second thing, we required a firewall policy should be open from our mid server IP to target machine or ServiceNow instance on port 443 for the connections. Third, we have to be configure a user in ServiceNow instance with mid underscore server role. Fourth is we have to be configure a service account in the mid server or Windows server and provide the log as a service a user assignment role to that particular user. So these are the 4 things which we have to be do before installation of the prereq. And fifth thing again, install or download that mid server I can say what is that exe file or the MSI file or that uh, a zip file from ServiceNow instance and place it to your Windows server basically, right? So sometimes the copying from another machines and populating on the target machine is not allowed. So you have to be download that one on your Windows server itself, directly accessing that one, right? So you can do that, right? So that is done. I think let's download. Okay, because I downloaded in my local machines, might be it will create issues. Let me download again here. Do you remember what password we have configured here? I'm just using that login with this one to download that one.
Hi, Ajay.
Yes.
Can we transfer the file to the RDP, from our local?
We can transfer, right? But it depends. If customer is provided you that access to be transfer your files from your local machines to RDP, sometimes it is not, because they don't want to be they don't want to be allowed to copy anything from your local machines to the target machines. Otherwise, whatever you want to be put, you can to put. If you don't want to install an application, you can put the installer or API, exe install in your machine, and you just copy and paste on the target machine. So that should not allow by the customer basically. Okay, that is the reason. That's why we not allowed to do that. Right now, I just want to be where is. Okay, yeah. I think I have just logged in with a different user. Let me go to my RDP. Let me try to put if I am able to do that. Oh shit. That's done. That's done. Let me see if I'm able to paste. No, see, I'm not able to do the paste from my downloads basically.
We can use the file transfer button.
We can use it, but why we should go there? Right. Just very simple thing that I feel. So we should not be, sometimes we should not be complicate the things using the file transfer and all, right? If it is not downloading or if it is not working, let's go simply to do that directly from that.
Directly from the
ServiceNow
CIS.
inside. Let's go here. But because I logged in with, no, you are able to see that mid_server role. So that's why that he's don't have the access on it, right? So let's do one thing. Let me provide just for the now. Let's refresh this one. What happened to this? I have, okay, roles are not added here. Might be that is the reason. Let me refresh one moment, guys. I think let me see. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think you are logged in with that.
Right, let me log in here right away. sys_user list. The username is that track. Let me open this one. Let me give the role to this user as well, just for some time. Admin. Let's save this. Let's go here. Let me this. Vegetables to see now. No. Let me log out. This. Password is advanced two. Just save for the time's sake. Let's go mid server. Yes. Downloads. Let's download the zip one first and then we'll go with MSI tomorrow. Download this one as well. Okay, now it's downloaded. Let's navigate to window E, downloads. So my zip file is downloaded here. The first things which I do or which we have to be prefer, right? We have to be unzip this particular file in the C drive. So let's go here in the C drive. I'm just putting this file in the C drive. Or let's do one thing in the simple words. If I showcase you this, let's extract this. Oh, do one thing. Just go in the C drive. Just create one folder let me create a new folder that is track with AJ. Okay, here we are going to be, I'll extract that particular file which we have downloaded just right. So let's go here. Let's this extract all, browse where we have to be extract this and this file, select folder and extract. So we have to be download the zip file and extract in the folder which we have created in the C drive. So all the component which is extracted from that particular file that should be available there, and we have a copy available extracted file there in the C drive, and we can from there we can directly to start installation of the mid application. And you know that whatever the prereq I mentioned, just go and write somewhere and learn on your tips, so that will be good. Because whenever you're going to be, because mid server is the one thing which you're not going to be installed too much times, right? But if you're installing, whenever or whatever requirements, you should remember these particular things that required. Otherwise you will face lots of challenges, because if you miss to give a mid underscore server role to a user, or if you miss to create a service account, you will face issues to connect with the mid servers, and that again you will couple of challenges will be there basically. Okay, now it's downloaded or extracted in that file. Now let me go to agent. Here in agent, this is my basically what can I say, this is my extracted file. The simple thing using for earlier, what will be happening here while you're installing track with while you are installing the mid application through zip file, you will get the installer here, but that installer has been not coming nowadays. So what you have to do, you have to be changed in the configuration file directly to connect to the directly that particular mid server, right? So installer is not here. So if I open the config file, let me open in Notepad, right? So I just will click on it. Where is open with Notepad, right? So I hope it's visible and you are able to read that one, right?
Yes.
So here,
Yeah,
here the parameters is the first parameter, if you are able to see, your instance URL, right? So what is our instance URL?
that we have given this one. Yeah.
Let me copy this one and put here. It's just replacing the existing informations with our correct informations, right? So see, I have just put it HTTPS, the correct URL of my instance is now learning this, right? Now let's move to the next things. The next thing is asking mid.instance username and mid.instance password. So what is the username we have configured? That is track with AJ, right? What are the password we have used there is advanced -12. I'm just putting straightforward now, but once I save this particular file, this password is encrypted immediately, right? Then the next parameter is here, if you are able to see, define the name by which your mid server is known as the ServiceNow instance. Edit the value to provide the name you want, or leave it blank at the mid server will make up a name, right? So what you can do, I'm just putting if here we have to be provide the mid server name basically, right? So from or using that particular things, we are identify this is the correct name, right? So I'm just putting tech track with AJ again. You can put if you are using that particular mid server for discovery. So if some nomenclature is used by the customer or organization, you can configure discovery underscore xyz underscore location, right? It depends again the nomenclature. If no nomenclature, it's again the same name, or it should be a unique name which can be easily understand by everyone, right? So you can put if you're using for again discovery, you can put discovery underscore prod underscore this type of mid server or location. You can put service mapping, you can put whatever you want, right? So just to be easily understanding by other ones, right? If I go a little bit down on this particular right here here whatever I mentioned, parameter name thread dot max is 25, parameter name thread dot expedite max dot is 20. These are the parameters threads which we have discussed, right? Also, if you want to see the instance format, date and time, you can also see it from here. What the next things I mentioned about this one proxy, right? So just little bit careful while you are doing or mentioning the proxy. The parameters specify a proxy server that mid server will use for both contacting your ServiceNow instance and downloading upgrades. If you want to put the proxy, you can put as well. So if mid.proxy hostname, you have to be put here. Hostname can be your IP address, or a URL will be provided by ServiceNow and the not ServiceNow, by the customer, my bad. And the second thing is port, on which port the proxy is running on it. It might be on 880 or some other custom ports. If any specific usernames is going to be used or to run, or to run that particular proxies, you can also do it from here. If it is not, then it's not required. Just leave it like that, right? If I go little down, if it is, you can see parameter mid.upgrade.use proxy is true. Do you want to use the same proxy to upgrade your mid server as well? Yes. Okay. Otherwise, you can put no, and you can configure the upgrade proxy as well, right? Then let's common up. I think that is nothing here. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So I have just we have done only the 4 things here. One is ServiceNow instance, one is mid server name, or sorry, mid server username, mid server password, and that mid server name which required. And these are the common optional parameters which is not required, right? So let me save this. Okay, let me save from here. So this is saved now. What I need to do now, I need to start these services, right? So from this particular batch file, I can start the services. So let's start the service. No, it's not allowed to run that one in that way. Now let's do. If you want, that type of issues also you are facing, you cannot run anything directly, right? So do one thing, just open the command prompt, run as administrator, cd dot, just out from this particular path, then cd, you have to be entered in this path, this. So this, let me remove the front thing, C drive, enter. Now what you have to run, you have to be run that start.bat. I will tell you now again, right? If you are not able to run anything like any batch file directly from command prompt, just open command prompt, run as administrator. Once you open it, you will see that particular path. So this is path where your application is stored. If you are going to be run anything under system 32, so you can put directly that particular things here. Like, let me showcase you. If I insert drive, where it is in Windows and system 32. If I go Windows And if it is system 32 here, if I need to run anything from this one, right, I can use this particular path, whatever out of the box is there, right? But no, we have to be run that particular things from my basically my folder which I have just configured for mid server specific. That's why I created that specific for that, right? So it's easy. So I just out from that particular path using the cd dot dot. I come to Windows, then I put cd dot dot. I came to the C drive. Under C drive, I have to be enter my path where I have to be start the batch file which I need to be run it, right? So I entered cd tag with agent, and under that I've already, once I click on this one, enter in, I am able to part of this particular path. Under that path we have start.bat file. Why I put it back? Because it's a batch file. Basically, if you see here, it's mentioned batch, and batch extension is .bat, right? So once I click on start bat, it will start. So unable to install the mid server service, this specified service already exists. Unable to update the ServiceNow mid server service and exist. Okay, so now, and ServiceNow mid server service is already started with status running. So this issue is there. Now I need to request you guys, just try to research something on it, right? I know why that issue is there, but just try to put your some efforts. You can take, if you want to take the screenshot, you can take it. If you want, I can, put on the chat as well why we are okay, why we are getting these issues. Just try to find out some solution from your side, and let's see how that will be. Where is my Skype? Let me see if I'm able to copy this one. Yeah, I just put it on the chat. Just try to do some investigation from your side. Tomorrow we will showcase you how, and that particular issue will be fixed, right? And why we are getting this issue. Any questions till now?
So AJ, that proxy setup in this config file, that is a mandatory one, or
no?
That can be.
It's not mandatory. It depends. If customer using the proxy, you can configure it. If it is not, then we leave it. Simple words. It's not mandatory.
Okay.
Any other question from anyone else?
Just a question. So the Windows server that you have taken, right? So you need like minimum 80 GB space, then only you'll be able to install Mid Server?
No, it can be 40 GB as well. Right, 4 GB RAM, 4 GB.
But in your system, in like C drive, it was showing 80 GB.
Right, but it's up to us how much storage we want. It's not mine. It's basically the service now provided on the Now Learning.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
But we can also install on the 40 GB. But what is the cons of cons of it? Basically, using the 40 GB, that sometimes if you have multiple discovery schedules or lots of discovery schedules, a big infra, you're not able to store the lots of logs. Because if you see here, if I go in my C drive, see if it is 40 GB example, let me go back, shit, let me go back from here directly. Okay, this PC. See, it's 80 GB. How much it is free now? It's 57 GB free. Means already 20 GB utilized by Windows only. Right?
Yeah.
If 20 GB utilized by Windows, so how much is left? Only 20 GB is left. Do you see? It's 20 GB is enough to be store the logs. If you have a big infrastructures, you have to be clean every day in that case. Or not every day, every month or 2 months, right? So that's why, and if you install multiple mid servers on that machine, that again challenges for you.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I always request at least 100 or 160 GB hard disk, at least 100, not below that.
Okay.
So my logs will be there and no need to be clean every day or every month or every year, right? So whatever the logs, it will be visible automatically or available there. And just to showcase you where I am, this one agent logs is there, wrapper logs is there, it's configuration one. If I go to bin, no, not bin, where is this there, etc, I think so. No, this is the logs.
In the logs file. In the logs file. Yeah.
It's wrapper, right? It's there, and if agent logs is also, that will also going to be created in the logs under the logs only. Right, so just now do one thing, guys. Go to and try that particular error which I just mentioned to you. I just want to hear from you what is the cause behind those particular errors while we are installing a mid application through the zip file. What should we do? Just if you are going to be researching, then definitely it will very helpful for you guys to be see, right? Otherwise, I have the option. I have already solutions. I can complete within 10 minutes that particular issue and resolve it, right? But if you are researching, that will be good for you. And I think I see one question is asked by Abhishek today morning. That is knowledge check. Which phases can be viewed under the discovery logs? Anyone knows what which phases can be viewed under discovery log tab? Any idea?
Ajay, what I have studied under that, the four option, there's identification and all these we can see, but those two at a third question, fourth option, that is it comes from a technique that cannot be visible. I think that
Not getting.
that props and ports.
So you are mentioning all four options: identification, exploration, scanning, and classification is visible in discovery logs, right?
Yeah.
No, this is
all.
This is
Or we
not.
can.
Anyone else wants to add? And no. Only the identification and exploration phase details you are able to see in discovery logs, not the scanning and the classification.
Only 2 weeks.
Only two. Discovery logs. Just specially read the question very carefully. It's mentioned which phases can be viewed under the discovery log tabs. It's not of talking about discovery logs. It's talking about discovery log steps. How you can verify? Let me go and showcase you to verify this one right away. If you go to here on discovery status, I am just opening one discovery status just for your reference, and if you see, right, so this is my discovery status for the load balancer services. You can see ECC queue and discovery log. So this is, he's talking about this one, discovery log tab, and under that only identification and exploration will be visible. All details, if you want to see the scanning, classification and all, you will be able to see on under ECC queue, not in the discovery logs. I will showcase you when we are actually running a discovery. I think there is no actual discovery runs on that particular machines. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think we are good for today then.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Ajay, virtual machine, we can download it from online, right?
Sorry, come again.
Virtual machine, which you have initially shown, right?
Right. So that's from now learning instance, basically, which I'm using here. Right. So that provided by the now learning as a discovery things. So you can use that one from your now learning service accounts, or you can go with Azure and AWS subscriptions, basically.
Okay.
Okay, now I just want to check what is the status for tomorrow's call. Do you want to be attend? Do you want to be join, or you want to be miss or ignore, or don't want to be go for tomorrow's call, tomorrow's morning call? I am available. I don't have any issue to do that. If everyone is agreed, or most of the folks are agreed due to some festivals or some celebrations, then I can understand basically. You can, if you don't want to share anything now, don't put it. Just put me on the chat on the group as well. So we'll see if we have a number of attendance or number of things from your side. Based on that, we will decide we have to go for tomorrow's session or not. I think that's all. Till the time, have a good day. Bye bye. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow if you are guys agree.
Thanks, Ajay.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Cool.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.